When it comes to the most dedicated fan base in the anime community, with no contest, Fate Stay Night is in the conversation. The premise is simple. Seven mages from different factions go to war for the grand prize of any wish they want granted. To fight, they summon different warriors from history and mythology to fight alongside them. Simple, right? And with that, it leads to an entire chain reaction of alternate timelines, side stories, prequels, sequels, prequels that somehow spoil sequels. Different fans have watched these shows in different orders, but regardless, you'll probably still piss someone off. At Fate's core, it isn't just a battle royale. It's a story about conflicting ideologies, what would you put at stake for victory, and how much humanity you would throw away for absolute power. But the greatest part about Fate is that each story, good, bad, or in between, has something different to say. Magical girls, making dinner, gambling traps. The limit is almost endless. So when I finally checked out the newest anime entry of the series, written by Ryogo Narita of all people, all I can say is, when people glaze Fate's animation, it's usually because of the ridiculous work from Ufotable on the original series. We don't talk about that one. But this one was delivered by A1 Pictures. The show was in development hell before this. The prologue movie was delayed by half a year, and the first episode released in 2024 with no word on an actual proper release cycle or episode 2 date. Finally, in 2026, it's airing, and I'm glad that they took their time on this one. From throwing hands, to magic warfare, to an exploding city, every frame of the show is a thing of beauty. This is a Grail War taking place in Snowfield, Nevada. Yep, in America. Independent mages wanted to replicate the third Grail War from Stay Night, and using stolen data and good enough rituals, a Holy Grail War was started. This war was still flawed, considering that they were missing a whole servant class. But don't worry about that, because these wars are sacred and kept secret from the public. While the Fate Zero and Unlimited Blade Works series relatively eases you into things, this show has a ridiculously explosive start. There's no time to ask questions or reminisce with old faces. Gilgamesh is back in all of his glory. This random dog is a master. A little girl in a coma summons the manifestation of death. This guy has a really cool watch. And he is actually a vampire that can't die. Gilgamesh, who's indifferent to this holy war, sees his friend Enkidu, and after a nice sparring session, it's all okay since these wars are still a secret to the public. And most of this is introduced in the prologue. Ryogo Narita is known for these wacky situations that eventually end up interconnected by every little character involved, making the world of Fate a match made in heaven for him. I have immense nostalgia for series like Bakano and Durarara because the main pillar holding up those shows are the character relationships. And this feels like it's in the same vein, and I'm sure that some little details will show up to be bigger ones as the show goes on. There are also some crazy servant ideas here that haven't been explored in other Fate series. Jack the Ripper in this show doesn't have an identity, just like how they're remembered in history. They have no physical description despite existing, and they're simply a manifestation of madness. He can spawn in an army of infinite people that could potentially be him, but no one knows who he actually is. Compare that to Apocrypha, who's nothing alike at all. And so with all those crazy characters, the main character is just a normal Japanese girl, who, after a freak accident, summons Richard the Lionheart, this war's Saber servant. And there's something about Saber's conviction that just speaks to me. In a single speech, he won me over instantly.
I have destroyed an opera house, a sacred location and the home to song and stage, and I am filled with shame. I have no excuse to offer. I was careless. However, allow me to propose a promise.
But if you remember from earlier, the Saber class isn't supposed to be in the Imitation War, and this is where the real chaos begins. The summoning of Saber was the start of the true Holy Grail War. The fake one was just meant to charge the city's magical energy to start this one, meaning that there's 6 other pairs of masters and servants that are about to enter. Compared to the other Grail Wars, at least in Zero and State Knight, which felt more strategic and low-key, there's 13 pairs of people fighting in the city. But it's alright, the public won't know about it.
The police have exited the building.
And the war doesn't even stop at just the participants. The church is also overseeing the war, the government is involved, the Mages Association is trying to put a stop to all the chaos. So with all that being said, I don't recommend watching this first. There's subtle character moments that wouldn't feel anything if it weren't for the weight of Zero or Unlimited Blade Works, so make sure that you at least watch those first. Fate Strange Fake is like one of those paintings that look like a mess at first, and then end up being a work of art by the end. It rewards you for paying attention to each character, and the involvement of so many makes the story really unpredictable. It's probably going to be a long while for the next season, especially if it's planning to maintain the quality. But if it matches up to the quality of this one, it'll easily be worth the wait.